Ugh. And up in the upper left, you'll see an eyeball, and that'll tell you how many people are watching at that time.
Okay.
But I don't know that that's entirely correct because it'll show you a number and then you'll get off and then you'll be like, oh my God, like there was like 400 people that was watching. But
you never know.
So, all right, well, we'll get started here. I will play the little intro.
Do it. Do it, Ray. Yeah, son!
Back down. Oh!
Oh, good one. We don't need the net.
Hey, and welcome to this week's Shop Talk Live. I want to start off thanking everybody who's been tuning in. The turnout has been amazing. Last week we had almost 1,200 views, and I hope that's a reflection of the quality of content that I've been putting out. I've really been trying to go above and beyond kind of what everybody else is doing or done before. And I think the numbers are reflecting that. Quickly, before we get started, just wanted to let everybody out there know I have plenty of rods in stock. We have built models. We have blanks ready to go. Right now, our custom build time turnaround is about 7 to 12 days. We have our stock line of rods ready to be shipped or picked up if you'd like to come here and grab one. We have panfish rods, 662, 703s, and 704s that are just ready to go. For those of you who have been waiting, I do have probably I don't know, 10 or 12 orders for the 7106s. We haven't had them in a while. They are in the mail. I'm hoping that they come any day. I thought they'd be here today. So if you've been waiting on one, they will be coming. And once they come in, we'll build them straight out right away for you. I apologize for the delay in them. So if you've been waiting, they'll be here. I promise. They're on their way. One last announcement. Tackle Cove and Centerville will also be carrying JLS rods this year, in addition to the other stores that we were already in Maryland. So be sure to check out Chris Dollar's shop if you're in the Centerville area. And with that, let's get started. For those of you who don't already know, this is my guest this evening, Kevin Conroy. And he works for Commar Sales. He's basically a sales representative for I've seen the list, and I can't even name them all. It's probably 150 different brands or something. But, most notably Minn Kota, Humminbird, SiriusXM, major brands like that. And Kevin just got back from the Miami Boat Show, which is pretty cool. I wish I could have went down. And next week, Kevin will be at the Bassmasters Classic. So if you're around that area, check him out. But how's it going, Kevin? How was the boat show? Did you see anything down there that you want to share with us? Anything cool, new out for the year?
Yeah, Ron, first off, thank you very much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. The Miami Boat Show was another great show this year. It's back at the old convention center location, so a little more spread out than years past, but there was, all new crazy builds from Viking and Valhalla down to, CV Contender and everyone across the board. So it's pretty cool. There was some new technology across the board that was shown as well. It's always impressive seeing those new Mercury 600 motors in person. They are huge. So it's always a fun time to get down to Miami for the show.
Certainly. So, why don't you kind of explain what it is that you do, what that entails, how you got into it, stuff like that. I think a lot of people probably are real interested. It's kind of like a dream job.
Yeah, definitely. It can appear to be that way sometimes, and it definitely is that way sometimes. I've grown up in the industry my entire life. My father's worked in the industry for the last 45-ish years, and ever since birth, I've grown up on Bertrams and Vikings and center consoles and all sorts of boats around the Chesapeake Bay, and just kind of fell in love with it. So when I got out of college, I decided I wanted to join the Commar sales team, which is headed by my father, and then kind of learn the ropes of sales in the marine industry. I don't think college really trains you for it very well, but it's been really fun, and we represent a lot of awesome brands that provide a lot of very cool opportunities, from Johnson Outdoors with Humminbird, Minn Kota, and Cannon, to SiriusXM, who does weather services and fish mapping, and we're now on board with a company called Omnisense, who's doing thermal imaging, competing with FLIR in that market. We're doing digital switching now, a lot of new and cool, innovative products. And our company's been around for over 40 years now. We've had the privilege of representing a lot of awesome products over the year, and it's kind of cool just to see the industry evolve year after year. And it's amazing how rapidly it is changing today. I mean, every year there's some new incredible product, whether it's sonar, motors, mobile connectivity. There's always something new.
Right. So did your dad start the company? Is that how Commar came about, or?
He actually worked for the original owner of the company for about 10 or 20 years, and then they formed a group to buy him out as he was retiring, and that's still the original group that has ownership today. So the three main partners have been there. They bought the company out in, I think, 96, so they've owned it since then, but they've all been there for 30 plus years now.
That's cool.
And yeah, all of them are still there. We were all together at the show last week, so it's a really great group. I mean, I think across our whole group, there's probably 300-400 years of marine experience. So it's a lot of very knowledgeable guys who really care about the industry.
Now, you guys didn't originate in Maryland, correct?
No, we actually are out of Tiverton, Rhode Island. So that's where our main office is out of. My father's from Connecticut, and the two other partners are from Rhode Island. And the company started up there, and then we branched into the Mid-Atlantic, and now we have fully branched into Florida as well as the Gulf. So we basically are a rep agency covering the entire East Coast, specializing in marine electronics, but we definitely get outside of that realm as well. Everything from marine plumbing up to satellite communications. So we kind of do it all. And our specialty is really connecting the manufacturer with a dealer, a boat builder, an end user from time to time, whatever it might be.
Yep. So obviously, like you're at ICAST, you're doing all this stuff, you're, dealing with all the latest, greatest products. How does somebody get into that? If they're not, your family, you own the business and that kind of thing, like you're just maybe a kid going to college, or even an adult that would be looking to make a change. How does one get into that, Kevin?
Yeah, we always joke in the industry that once you're in, you kind of never get out, and to never say anything bad about anyone because they could be your boss the next day. So it's one of those things, once you're in, you're never out. But in my opinion, before I worked for my father, I worked at a boatyard / boat dealership called Burr Yachts, who is a Fleming dealership, which are big cruising vessels. They're beautiful boats. And I worked there for a summer doing varnish work, repairs, engine paint, whatever it might have been. Kind of learn the industry, learn a few people. Working at West Marine's a great start. We've hired a bunch of people who have worked at West Marine. So there's a lot of different ways. I think working at boat builders is one of the coolest ways to get in. If you show you're passionate and you're going to show up every day to work hard, they will hire you. every single person in this industry is looking for work right now. We're always looking to hire. If you guys want to reach out to me and you want to, get into this industry, there's nothing like it. It is very cool. You get to do what you love every day. Not every day is perfect, but it's better than sitting at a desk every day. So
yeah.
there's a lot of good ways, but you just got to kind of weasel your way in and then work your way up the ladder.
Awesome. So what do you guys personally have new for this year in the products that you're representing and selling?
Yeah, so I guess we can start off the top with Johnson Outdoors, who's the parent company to Minn Kota, Humminbird, and Cannon products. So on the Minn Kota side, we are continuing strong with our saltwater and freshwater motors. Most of you should probably be familiar with the 87-inch Riptide Trova at this point. That motor is hugely popular in the saltwater offshore market as well as inshore market. Anything really over 25 feet center console market, that's huge. We're continuing to look at building bigger and bigger. We see where the market's going. We want to be on that 42-foot Freeman. That's the way that market is going, and we can't wait to be a part of it. But as far as that, it's pretty standard across the board. We are working on a few new features to push out to the motors, but just working on reliability as well as a new 5-bank charger we have, which is pretty cool, which will charge your house and start battery as well as your 36-volt trolling motor system. So most battery chargers before that were either 3-bank, and you would just charge the trolling motor and then have a separate one for the house and start.
Right.
But we decided to combine it all into one with his lithium compatible as well. So that's pretty cool. On the Humminbird side, the newest, latest and greatest is Mega Live imaging. So that is live sonar on your Humminbird MFD. If some guy swims by, you're going to see him swim by. So I think that's really where the future of sonar technology is going to go. The way those live sonars work is beyond impressive, and it does make it feel like you're kind of playing a video game instead of fishing sometimes.
Yeah.
Besides that, we have a great product called Coastmaster, which is really taken off on the Chesapeake region. 1-foot contours for the whole bay, great charts. And, outside of that, there's Mega 360, which is a 360 scanning sonar. We're starting to see more and more of that in the saltwater application. And then hopefully we'll have some more new and exciting things as the show season rolls on. We have another company we represent called KBH, who does some really cool satellite connectivity. So they do TV and internet systems, and it's pretty cool to imagine you can be, 500 miles off the coast of California and still be hanging out watching this Facebook Live using a satellite connectivity product like that. So there's a lot of cool and new exciting stuff happening in the industry, and it's great to be a part of it.
What right now, what's the biggest, hottest thing? Like, what are you guys like? What's just rolling off the shelf? I mean, I'm sure there's several things, but like,
yeah, definitely.
What's everybody going after right now?
Trolling motors are flying off the shelves like we've never seen it before. We cannot get the components quick enough to assemble them. Ever since Minn Kota invented spot lock, I guess it was 5 or 10 years ago, the saltwater market has really seen the application take off. People think trolling motors are new. They've been around for forever. But the saltwater angler didn't seem to take advantage of it the same way. And now with the ability to literally pinpoint your boat in, 10, 20 knots of wind, 4 knots of current, you can just sit wherever you want using that trolling motor. It's a game changer. We're now seeing OEMs build their boats around this design of a trolling motor. They're prepping for it. We're seeing lithium companies specialize in batteries for it. And then we've honestly really just seen a takeoff in the Humminbird product on the Chesapeake. I think people understand the image quality they're getting when they buy a Humminbird, and they see the benefit of side imaging, down imaging, where maybe 5, 10, 15 years ago, most guys were just like, I have 2D imaging, that's great. But when you can scan 100, 200 feet to each side, find fish, find structure, it really changes how you can fish. So trying to keep up with the demand for 2 of those items are very hard.
Yeah. And the image quality of that is it's not just that you can scan out, it's the image quality and the ability to decipher what you're looking at.
Yeah,
I think
I
that's
think a
what.
true testament to that is I've been recently doing a ton of search and rescue jobs with local fire departments, DNR, a bunch of stuff where they're adding the unit to their vessel because they think that image quality is that good, and there's been recoveries and whatnot where we are credited with the technology doing it. So it's pretty amazing that a recreational fish finder is capable of doing all that.
Right. So Kevin, aside from the issues that I have, and I know a lot of people that I know locally here have sourcing and getting components, parts, product in, and the delays that we face, what are you guys seeing, and what should customers expect in the coming year or so?
Yeah, so across the board, we are seeing delays, from every company we represent, from very futuristic technology companies down to, basic boat builder paintbrushes, something like that, simple. We're seeing delays across the board, and we're seeing price increases across the board because everything from shipping, getting a container from Europe might have been $2,000 and now it's $10,000 or it's $20,000. So that's taking a major hit. And then just the components themselves are harder to source. And we're seeing major shortages on it. So then if you can't source a component, you go to the black market, or not the black market, but the secondary market to try to source it, where people kind of run free with pricing. So then you're kind of in a decision-making point. Do I pay the pricing to get anything out the door and probably make no margin, or do I just wait and get my original shipment? So I don't see it slowing down anytime soon. People are learning to cope with it better. We're seeing dealers place bigger orders than they ever have just to, get your name in line, and just kind of hop on the list, because the days of ordering, today and having it tomorrow are long gone. And I don't see it coming back at least for another year or two, because the demand is still so steady. I mean, every builder that we call on from Maine down to Florida has a 1 to 2 year build list. Some have 3 and 4 year build lists, and that's just, if half the people cancel their orders, they'd still be booked for a year. So we don't see it going away. People like Minn Kota and Humminbird, they have opened up new facilities and are in the process of building bigger and bigger, and they're literally working 24/7. But once you get something rolling, and as soon as you hit a component shortage, there's not much you can do. So then you just work on producing whatever products you can, which is kind of where it's gotten to nowadays. And we're seeing it from, trolling motors to VHF radios to SAT TV domes. And it could be as little as, that microchip, or it could be the remote control or whatever it might be.
Okay. So right now, let's just say Ron Buffington orders a trolling motor and a Humminbird. How long am I waiting?
Right now, I'd say probably 1 to 3 months would be my guess.
That's not too bad.
It's not terrible. It's not ideal. I remember 2 years ago, you said you wanted one. I'm like, great, I'll have it, by Friday, and it off. And that was pretty cool. And I guess we really took that for granted because we always had it. But nowadays it's a big backlog. Like, I know we were just hit with another component shortage regarding some of the trolling motors. So it's just trying to, find the new source for the component you need, but then you have to do months and months of testing. So even if you find the new component that looks great, we're not just going to throw it into a product and send it in the field. That's not how we do our testing or anything. So
now you have a compatibility issue.
Yeah. So
you could have a compatibility issue. Yeah.
And the durability, and I mean, the amount of testing, I've seen it firsthand in Minn Kota, Minnesota, where they build the motors that go into these products is amazing. From salt tests to shake tests to vibration test, it's absolutely incredible how many different tests are done to make sure this product is as good as it can be.
Sure, they don't want to have to warranty it.
Exactly, and we want to make sure the customer's happy, and that's what's really most important.
So anything else that you'd want to touch on those products, Kevin? Because I know they're huge in this area.
Yeah, I guess a few other ones that are good to mention for you offshore anglers. SiriusXM has the weather service as well as their new fish mapping service. So the weather service will give you, live lightning, rain, wind, sea temps, sea height, wave separation, all sorts of data. But their new fish mapping will give you plankton fronts, subsea surface temperatures, fishing recommendations based on, fronts they're seeing, weed lines where they're using actually satellite imagery data to track where weed lines are moving. So for all you guys going out of Indian River, Ocean City this summer, it's a great service. It's not completely foolproof, but it's definitely going to help point you in the right direction. It's a great thing to look at before you go. The other one would be Omnisense cameras. This is a really cool new line for us. They are a direct competitor to FLIR. They have a huge background in thermal imaging, but more so in mass screening. So when COVID happened, they basically did temperature screenings at airports for, people running a hot temperature. I guess they might have COVID. So they've been doing that for 10 or 20 years and got more into the marine side of the business and are spending a lot of money in building out that product line. And it's already very impressive, but they're really trying to kind of one up what's already on the market. And what we've seen so far is very impressive. So if you have not heard of them yet, it's called Omnisense Systems. It's a cool product to check out.
Nice. So how are they priced compared to FLIR? Is it competitive pricing? Are they a little lower? Or?
It's pretty much identical for the most part. Some models they're higher, some models they're lower. Some of the different things we do compared to FLIR is, one, you can use the cameras on your iPad, iPhone, Android device, so you can actually Bluetooth that image over, or it's over a Wi-Fi network. So then you can actually stream it off, say, your iPad in the master stateroom or something, and actually look all around you on the camera, which is a pretty cool feature. And we're actually building everything in-house, where some of our competitors outsource their daylight cameras. We build all of ours in-house. We're using, all grip paint finish, a bunch of different stuff, but it's a really cool company. They're very innovative. Instead of producing new hardware every year, they're really focusing on producing new software. So instead of buying a new, couple $1,000 camera every year, you're just going to get a software update with a bunch of cool new features.
Well, that's nice.
We really like. So,
yeah, heck yeah. So let's jump into the Bassmaster Classic. What's that all about? What are you going to be doing down there? And
yeah, so that is a really cool event for us. Me and my counterpart in Rhode Island will head down to Lake Hartwell in South Carolina this year to attend the show. We've done a few in the past, but it's a big event for Humminbird and Minn Kota. They're one of the premier sponsors of the event, so we get to have a big, 40 by 40 booth or 50 by 50. It's a huge show for us. We usually have every new product available there and the full lineup. It's pretty cool to actually see one of these events take place, to see all the guys weighing their fish and go around the circle like it's the Super Bowl. It's a pretty fun atmosphere to be a part of, and it really gets a good attendance.
Nice. So when you guys set up your booth down there, I take it that like people come to spectate, right? Like I've never been to a bass. I've watched it on TV, obviously, but
I think there was like 70,000 people at the last one. I mean,
oh
over the 3-day event, it's crazy.
So it's basically a big.
Yeah, you talk to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Super Bowl of bass fishing is kind of what they call it.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
People will come from Canada, from California, from all over, just for this event, and you'll see some of the same people year over year. It's a really, really big event, and it's fun because everyone is so passionate about fishing. Everyone there wants to be on the lake or wants to be the guy, holding up the big fish. And it's cool to just kind of do a show where everyone has that feeling.
Nice. So what will you guys like do product demos or?
Yeah, we'll have a full booth with our full Apex lineup, Solix, Helix, all the Minn Kota motors, our shallow water anchors. The booth's amazing. I mean, they have demos where you can actually use the shallow water anchors and see how they deploy. So like our Raptors deploy out, our Talons go straight down. You can use all the pedals on the trolling motors, like the freshwater ones. So you can get a feel for how you like cable steering versus electric assist. So it's a very interactive booth, which is pretty cool. But it really gives, I guess, the end user the ability to see the product, feel it,
Play with it.
use it like
before
you're fishing
Yeah.
before they make a decision. Or, year after year, it's sometimes a release point. Like I believe Garmin might have just released a new product. A lot of people use that time slot to do new product releases.
Present their new thing. Yeah.
ICAST in the summer is another big one. But overall, it's just a really cool event. I mean, there's nothing I've done year after year that's like it, and it brings such a passionate kind of fan base of fishermen that are. It's really cool.
What's your favorite event, show type thing? What out of all the ones you do in a year, what's your favorite? Is it ICAST, I would imagine, or
Yeah, of all the shows, and there's different like tiers. There's just industry shows, and there's consumer shows, and ICAST is just an industry show. But that is probably by far and away my favorite show. It's just the whole Orlando Convention Center, which I think is like one of the largest in the country, full of tackle, full of rods, reels, anything new in the industry, electronics, everything, and all the main guys are kind of there. So you can talk to whoever, whether it's Shimano or Minn Kota or St. Croix or whatever it might be. You can just hang out and talk to people, and they're all industry, and it's pretty fun.
yeah.
Costas does a big thing every year, and I think Smith has a big thing. And I remember one year, Extra Tough Boots brought in like a 300-pound tuna and just sashimied it in the booth. And it's like one of the coolest events you could go to if you enjoy, the fishing and or really the outdoor industry.
Kevin, it looks like you have a question here.
I see the big man himself.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Trolling Kansas still doesn't get to me. All right. So that's actually a great thing. I wish I had an image for this. So we have a pro staffer in the Northeast, BJ Silvio, who we took a trolling motor on his boat when, 6 years ago, and the technology was kind of really getting popular. And he's a big tog fisherman. So we took the trolling motor and took the breadcrumbs off the Humminbird, which is basically your trails. So
Right.
So we did it in spot lock, and it's like a little dot, speck on the map, like you're moving within 5 feet. And then we did it with a single anchor, and there's like a huge swing, across the whole thing. And the wreck's only this big. So, you hit it here and then you're off. You hit it here and then you're off. And then we did it with a double anchor, and it was still like you were swinging not the whole way, but way more than you were with spot lock. So we've, tested it. We've seen it firsthand. Some of those bigger tog boats, the 30, 40 foot down east boats, we're not fully there yet with the trolling motor, but I think we're pretty damn close to, that market being able to use spot lock.
It seems like you're alluding to that there's some new technology or products that are coming out that are going to solve that.
There's definitely a hope for bigger motors.
Sounds like it. It's not the first time in this conversation you've mentioned that. So
nope, there's a lot of demand, and we'd like to fulfill the demand. So
awesome. Well, look, if you're out there watching and you have more questions for Kevin, go ahead and shoot them in. But now I'm going to move on, and Kevin and I are going to talk fishing a little bit because Kevin gets to get around quite a bit with his job, and not only his job, but his family living across the country. So I'd like to dig into some of your fishing, Kevin. Where you been fishing at lately?
Yeah, lately has not been enough fishing, but I do spend a fair bit of time between the Chesapeake region and then Stuart, Florida. My parents have a condo down there, so we spend a lot of time down there, and I'll be heading there next month. That's an unbelievable fishery. I get very jealous every time I go down there. There's probably 25 different species within 5 miles you can catch there. The water's clean. So down there we do a lot of snook fishing, a little bit of speckled trout, redfish, some big jack crevalle. You can get offshore, do some snapper fishing. It's really just an incredible fishery. And then around here, I really love focusing in on that summer redfish cobia bite. I think that is one of the most exhilarating fisheries you could possibly experience, if you get it on the right day or you're in the right place.
Yeah.
And I've had the privilege of fishing with some of the guys who I think are the best on the bay in that regard. Guys like Pete Dahlberg, Nick Lombardi, Brad Foxwell. They've taught me a lot, and I've enjoyed fishing with them. Nick Garrett, we got a huge red with him last year. So it's a lot of fun fishing with those guys, and I've definitely learned a lot from them. And
Nice.
then I've been able to fish in Central America a little bit, in Costa Rica and Guatemala with some pretty cool captains down there, and that's a whole nother experience. If you ever have the chance in your lifetime to get down there, I would highly recommend it. It's not light tackle jig fishing, but it's pretty damn cool.
What did you like about it? What were you guys doing?
Honestly, I might enjoy the captains I fish with more than the actual fishing. We fished with a gentleman named Bubba Carter, who is kind of a legend down in Central America. He was one of the first Americans to go south to fish down there, and he has more stories than you could charter in a year. He's a great guy, and we fished with another guy, Alex Holden, but it's just, I've probably fished down there 15, 20 days. I've never fished a day where the seas are worse than a foot or two. It's always calm. You can go like 20, 30 miles, get into like great tuna, sailfish, marlin. It's, the people are nice. It's a beautiful country. There's so much greenery, and it's just a really different world. And we've met the guy who designed the whole place, and it's kind of cool seeing his vision, come to life. And you get to fish amongst some of the greatest guys kind of ever do it, like John Bayless, fish next to him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool to just see them in their element. And now I think John Duffy's got a boat down there, so it's fun seeing them, tear it up down there.
Nice. So what are some of your big notable catches here? What all have you been? What have you got?
I think down there the biggest for me was like a 200 or 300 pound blue marlin. Up here, Nick Garrett, Alex Simon, and I got on a nice yellowfin jig bite last year. I think we had a few to 70 pounds. That was a hell of a day. I'm jigging away, I stick one, and I'm like, Nick, what the hell is this rod? It was not one of your rods, by the way. It was not good. And he goes, oh, that's Alex's sea bass rod. I'm like, that's not good. I think there's a tuna on the other end. He's like, oh, you'll get it. And I mean, this tip is over rod seed. It was not good, but we got it to the boat, and it was one of those days where I think we were done by like 10:30, ready to go home. So that was a pretty awesome one. Another good one was last spring fishing with Brad Foxwell. We were down south a bit and looking for redfish, and stumbled across what we thought was an oyster shoal, where we thought we might pick off a few puppy drum, and they were all 40, 50-inch stripers in 2 feet of water. So that might have been one of the cooler things I've ever seen, to see a 48-inch striper eat a jig in legitimately 2 feet of water. We have screenshots from the day, and I think the depth was 1.7 feet, and they were everywhere.
Yeah, it's awesome.
The last few years have been a lot of fun, and it's fun to just every year get out there and do it again. But I really look forward to, I guess, Kobe and redfish season. That's when it's game time. Yeah. And I'm trying to dabble in the offshore game a little more, but that 80 miles away and the price of fuel isn't looking good.
Yeah. So how much do you fish in Florida?
I probably do 20, 30 days a year if I can, depending. I usually go down a while for Christmas, but this year I was not able to. But mainly snook fishing, and then one of my coworkers down there tournament sailfishes a fair bit, so we'll go out with him when we're down there, and that's always a good time.
Hell yeah! What's your biggest snook?
Probably like 38. I'm not over 40 yet. I gotta work on joining the 40 club. I want to be like Dan.
Not easy.
Well, I broke a few big ones off on top water, but we're not there yet.
Did you guys ever break in those snook rods that you bought from me?
I was down there last week putting them to work. Yeah, I was actually the last bite I had down in Florida. I was getting ready to pack everything up, and I was just trolling a little artificial what you call shrimp by the dock as I was walking back, and I got bit by a snook. No, that's an awesome rod. It's like I told my dad, he's like, I had my buddy borrow some of the rods. I'm like, yeah, just don't let him borrow that one. Borrow all the other ones. So
Nice. Well, Kevin, unless you have some more with your product line and stuff, I think we hit on everything, and it was a really good talk. I think put a lot of good information out there. And hold on, Alex Simon's got something here. He says we're going to collect that fluke tournament purse this summer or what?
it's a future thing. I think Alex, maybe Nick. Well, Nick's going to run the boat. He can't catch it, but we might be entering the flounder pounder this year. We'll see. Alex is a hawk for the fluke, and Nick can run a boat. He cannot catch a fluke, but he can run a boat. So we'll see if we can come for the crown. There's another good team we know very well that fishes that tournament that's won it a few times. So we'll see if we can overtake them.
Nice. So thank you so much, Kevin, for coming on tonight. And, I was really lucky to be able to get a hold of you in between the boat show and the Bassmasters Classic. And I know you've been busy, but thank you so much for sitting down with me this evening. I really appreciate it. I'm sure you get asked for stuff like that all the time. So
thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast, and keep making the best rods out there. We all appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin. And just let me know when you guys need some more, okay?
Of course. And if anyone has any questions regarding any of the products I represent, feel free to reach out to me on my Facebook. It's just Kevin Conroy, and I can answer anything there.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin.
All righty. Thank you, Ron.
So, guys and gals out there, next week I've got another really big show. I'm pretty excited about this. I'm bringing on what I consider to be the area's most prestigious tackle, lure, and rod builders besides myself onto the show. I'm going to gather them up, and we're going to put them into one show. I'm going to have Bill Montgomery, Steve Fogel, J.R. Witzel, Rich Jenkins, Coach Jigheads, and Lonnie Johnson on. I've also reached out to one other person. I haven't had a chance to talk to them yet, but it'll be at least those guys on, and we're going to sit down and have a round table and just talk fishing and products and local products and what everybody's got new for the year, what you can expect from them. So be looking for that. We're going to do it on Monday. It's just the only day that really worked for everybody. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll catch you next week and be on the lookout because that's going to be another really good show. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.